and Janus does. Get there. Janus no-load mutual funds.
Renting a car is part of your vacation, right?
Don't worry.
So Alamo thinks it should be part of your fun.
Drive happy.
That's why every time you rent from Alamo, you get our guarantee of unlimited mileage. And with Alamo's great Drive Happy deals, you've got lots of money left for the fun stuff.
Don't worry. Drive happy. Drive happy now.
Oh, man. Hey, Dale. Hey, thanks.
Sure, no problem, Bob.
Hey, it may not be much, but I think the right end is lifting just a little bit in the turns.
I'll have it checked out. Thanks.
Okay. Say hi to Kelly.
Sure will.
Be good.
This ESPN News presentation of the 1998 NFL Draft is brought to you by Janus No-Load Mutual Funds, by Alamo. Renting a car should be fun, so Alamo puts you smiles ahead with Drive Happy deals and services. And by Miller Lite, who reminds you that whenever you feel good, it's Miller time.
And now it's time for one of the most legendary franchises to pick. I have to do it. The Chicago Bears. There's about 7 minutes left for them on the clock, and their phones are buzzing. Let's head down to news on the Bears. Let's go to Miami with Chris Mortensen. Mort, what's brewing?
Well, Boomer, you're right. Their phones are ringing off the hook. They are talking with Jacksonville, St. Louis, and New England, and here's the deal. They want 2 ones. They want both of Jacksonville's ones, which Jacksonville hasn't been willing to give up. They wanted both of New England's ones. If they don't get the deal they want, Mark Catley, the personnel man, now making the picks for the Bears, will take Curtis Enis, the Penn State running back. He really likes Curtis Enis. If he trades down, then they're looking at a linebacker like Takeo Spikes of Auburn or Keith Brooking of Georgia Tech. Chris?
All right, Mortimer, well, the Bears will probably use up all the time because that's one of the few positions. Remember, they just paid money for Edgar Allan Poe Bennett from the Packers. They have a salon, they have some players there in a team that badly needs some help. Running backs, we expect maybe 4 to go in the first round. Is there a big difference on your board between the top backs?
I really don't think so, Chris. I think the depth at running back is outstanding. Teams know late first, early second round, you can get some good football players. Fred Taylor has moved up into the middle of the first. Robert Edwards is interesting. There's a durability question, but he's got great ability. Robert Holcomb, very consistent, move the chain style of running back. Skip Hicks improved a great deal as a senior this year, really moved into the early to mid second round area. So there is a lot of quality depth at the running back position, well into, Chris, the second, third, fourth round.
The Bears, they're in a division, Joe, where everybody else made the playoffs. So as the Bears sit there in 4-12 and need help, and really counseling, I hate to say it, in a lot of positions, can they afford to just pick the running back here if they don't make a trade?
No, I think a running back picked at this spot would be wrong for the Chicago Bears. They made the deal for Edgar Bennett. He could have played in the Super Bowl for the Green Bay Packers last year. He was healthy enough to be able to do that. You get a relatively young back who's had a lot of great playoff experience, and now you're going to go bring in a younger one. I think they have much more needs. Obviously, the defensive line is a situation they need to address with the problems with Alonzo Spellman. They have nobody to complement the wide receiver position. You've settled down at the position with Eric Kramer. Eric Kramer will be fine at quarterback if you give him some people around him. I think they need people to put points on the board. You made the point, Chris. Everybody in that division gets to the playoffs.
Yes.
You get there by scoring points. Chicago has not done it. They need skilled people in that position. That's where I'd have to say they go. Defensive line and or in the wide receiver area.
They haven't had a Pro Bowler since '93, so they need big-time playmakers somewhere. There's about 4.5 minutes left on the clock with the Bears. Let's check in with our Chris Myers in Dallas. Chris, what have you heard?
Well, moments ago, Chris, I spoke with John Shaw of the Rams, and at that point, the Rams are calling the bluff of the Bears. Of course, the Rams want Curtis Enis, someone Dick Vermeil has talked with personally, and it's a need for the Rams, but they're not willing to trade with Chicago. And if Chicago goes ahead and picks Curtis Enis, then the Rams will go with Grant Wistrom, the defensive lineman, also one of the areas of need for the St. Louis Rams. So at this point, the Rams aren't willing to move. They're going to wait and see what Chicago does. They have Enis and Wistrom rated about the same, with Enis being the priority simply because that's more of a need position. Chris, back to you.
See, thank you, Chris. One of the things, St. Louis just wants to come up one spot, but the price that San Diego paid for Arizona makes the Bears think, well, they can get a similar sort of windfall of picks or maybe players. But in this case, it's running back, not quarterback. That may not be the case. We'll be back with the Bears.
We all know how a dog reacts when he sees something he really likes. Unexpectedly, I've noticed the same behavior on this young man.
I can't control my arm. Don! I can't control my arm.
Can you turn this into something good?
They sprayed us good, huh?
Yeah, good.
But we'll be okay, huh? I mean, we've been sprayed before, huh, Hank? I can't feel my roots, Hank. I can't feel my roots. Hank! Hank!
Roundup, no mercy, no pity, no weeds. We asked some of Hollywood's hottest stuntmen to try Degree.
What's body heat activate?
As your body heat rises, Degree releases extra protection when you need it most.
I heated up, and it cooled me down. I was on fire, and I was dry.
Body heat activated Degree. Your body heat turns it on.
The counter-revolution is sweeping the land, but we must keep eating. Wipe the salsa from your chins. Salute Gorditas and our glorious leader. Gorditas, thicker, heartier. Their bold salsas and 3 cheeses are filling the lives of the people for just 99 cents each.
Viva Gorditas!
Coming this summer, it's a lot more of the NFL on ESPN. Starting July 28th, the NFL Tonight with host Mark Malone. We'll have news from around the league every night, Tuesday through Saturday on ESPN2. Then, starting September 6th, NFL Countdown. Now starting at 11 a.m. A full 2 hours of news, inside stories, and live reports from around the league. Then, review the day on NFL Prime Time, starting at 7:30 this year with in-depth highlights of all the day's games. And then right after prime time, it's Sunday Night Football. From Labor Day to after Christmas, 17 weeks of the best teams, the best players, the best rivalries in the NFL. A full NFL season, all on ESPN. Now we're ready for some football, certainly all fall long in the next 2 days. Winner saying the card has gone up. There's about a minute left on the clock for the Bears. Let's go to the commissioner.
With the 5th pick in the draft, Chicago Bears select running back, Penn State University, Curtis Enis.
I tell you what, I would not, and this is on no inside information for this particular, I would not necessarily rule out a trade in which Enis doesn't end the weekend a Bear, although lately those things haven't happened.
No, I agree with you, Chris. It's not that the Bears can't use a player like Curtis.
He's a great player.
He's certainly a terrific football player, a terrific young man, and the Bears want to add that type of a quality player to their roster. But I think that there are other areas of needs on the Chicago Bear football team that could have been addressed in this draft, and I think will be. I tend to agree with you, Chris. I really feel like Curtis Enis may not wind up past Sunday being a Chicago Bear. At least they have him in fold now. I think it's not necessarily the move you want to see. They didn't get the deal they want, but this gives them time now to be able to work on a future deal that may even get them more players, more picks, and, of course, more opportunity to help their football team.
Although worse things could happen, Mel, than just lining up Curtis Enis and letting him be a big, bruising back in a cold weather ballpark.
Well, you're right, Chris. I think when you look at Kajana Carter and Blair Thomas, everybody says, are you afraid of Penn State backs? Well, Lydell Mitchell, Franco Harris, Kurt Warner had great careers coming out of Happy Valley. I look at that size, 240 pounds. You also see some outside speed. Not a lot of creativity or elusive qualities, but we're talking about a 240-plus pounder who has the speed to take it the distance. Look at the inside power. Great tackles between the tackles. You're talking about a guy that certainly can keep the chains moving very effectively. He is a tackle breaker. There's no question about that. And he plays 4 quarters. In the 4th quarter, he'll wear down defenses. Watch him here. Number 39, coming down the field, making the catch. A lot of receptions during his career at Penn State. So he's multi-dimensional. He's 240 pounds. And what I like about him is he's going to create yards, not through creativity or elusiveness, but through sheer power and determination. He will not, he'll take 1 tackle, 2, 3,